Wednesday, the 1st of December. Well, as you know, I try to think of something that's been happening in our lives or my own life when we have these little reflections. So today I've given the title, Getting It Wrong. Getting it wrong. So, what things do we get wrong in life? Well, there's too many to mention, I'm sure. However, I'm going to start with just on Sunday in church. As you know, every Sunday we say the Lord's Prayer out loud together in the church. And with my microphone on, of course, I'm particularly loud. So Sunday we said that I led the prayer, and then I followed by saying, we'll now say together the Lord's Prayer. And we started off and everything was fine until I lost concentration. I was thinking about what was coming up next when I shouldn't have been. And of course, I got it wrong. And absolutely everybody heard it. Because really, it's an easy thing to spot when you get the Lord's Prayer wrong. However, I did apologise for that. Just said I shouldn't have been thinking ahead. But you can't help that. And then just shortly after that, one of our members got up to do the Bible reading. And for whatever reason, he started in completely the wrong place. And he said, "Oh, I do apologise for that. I'll start again." And I just thought, oh, join the club today. Join the club, getting things wrong. And then a week past Sunday, I think it was, maybe 2 weeks now, our choir were singing their anthem. And to be very honest with you, and I've already said to the choir, I think it's the worst I've ever heard them. We don't know what went wrong. There was one or two little issues before it led up to the bit where, it really was getting it wrong. But I must admit, on Sunday, they were excellent. But a couple of weeks ago, they got it wrong as well. I just recently heard of one of our members who jumped in the car and pressed the pedal, the accelerator, and not his own car, I may add, but something must have jammed. I think in the old days you'd call it the choke. I don't think they call it that anymore, but and the car went zooming off and hit a fence and a hedge. So we can get things wrong, whether it be our mistake or the mistake of something we're using. But things in life can go wrong, can't they? Well, let's start with the weather, because last weekend, Friday night into Saturday, many of you will know that 2 trees came down in the manse. Quite dramatic it was, and because of where we live, there are lots and lots of trees surrounding us, and the noise level was just phenomenal. So I don't think really anybody expected the winds to be so ferocious. I know they warned us a bit, but not to the extent, I think, of what actually happened. Not only here in Forfar, because many, many roads were blocked, but across the northeast of Scotland. So they didn't get it wrong, but sometimes we can get the weather forecast wrong. Well, more often than not, sometimes. Things that can go wrong, cars. Cars can always go wrong, can't they? From the silliest little thing to the biggest thing. So cars are one thing that I think we all hate something going wrong with, because nowadays very few of us know what to do. I mean, I admit I could not change the tyres in my car. I just could not do it. And I know you get this foamy stuff that you're meant to put in, but oh my goodness me, who wants that? I suppose in an emergency. However, I'm really glad to say that in my car, I've got a little button that I can press, and it sends a message to Land Rover, and they will come and help me. So that's a bit of all right, isn't it? What else can go wrong? Well, isn't it? They say it's Sod's law that your heating always breaks down in the winter. But let's be honest, that's when your heating is on the most. So if it is going to break down, well, it's more than likely to break down in the winter. So we're thinking of all those people who have been without heating since Friday night and without power at all, but especially the heating because it really is very cold at this present time. So we don't like it when things go wrong with our heating, because most of us don't have hot water without it. I don't know. I personally don't know of any houses that have still got an old-fashioned immersion switch, I think they called it. Yeah, I don't know anybody. I'm sure there is, but I personally don't know anyone. Things can go wrong with your health, can't they? They certainly can. And you just don't see it coming, you know. And if it's not you, it could be a loved one. And that's probably a bit more serious than stuff going wrong with your car, because it really can have very sad outcomes, as we all heard last week on the death of Pastor Naomi in Hungary. So that's just one of them, but health really things can go very wrong with our health. Pregnancy, lots of things can go wrong in pregnancy, and we hear of many women unfortunately suffering miscarriages, and sometimes more than one miscarriage. But there was a great report in the television last week about here's me telling you about the report, but I can't remember I can't remember what it was, but it was something that they can be given, and it has success rates, especially if people have more than one or two miscarriages. So that'll be absolutely wonderful news for those who receive that. What about getting it wrong? Well, weddings. Weddings are very interesting. Yeah, weddings are very interesting. I remember Billy and I were at a wedding before I became a minister, and at this wedding, the wedding cake, when the couple went to cut it, it toppled over and fell on the floor. Splat, it went. What was even funnier afterwards was that they had the wedding being videoed, and the videographer did a little repeat bit as the cake fell down and splattered, and so in the video it became very funny, but I'm sure nobody was amused at the time. But things can go wrong. Holidays, well, holidays can go wrong, can't they? You can miss a plane, you can forget your passport. One of our members did that. We can not like where we've gone. We don't like the accommodation, we don't like the town or the remoteness or whatever. So holidays can go wrong as well. And of course, I'm not even going to go down the route of what can go wrong with our climate in the world that we're living today. I've done enough about that over this past little while. Something else that can go wrong is you can read a situation wrong. You know, you're looking at someone, you're listening to them, but are you really listening to them? Because if you really listen to them, then you will see that things were wrong. And I think you see and hear of that in abuse cases, don't you? Especially if a wife is being abused at home, especially, or children. Yeah, so we can read situations very, very wrong. And the same, somebody may be very happy on the outside and upbeat and optimistic, but under it all, there's a deep depression, if not worse, going on behind the scenes. The government, well, did they get it wrong? Way back in March 2020, did the lockdown come too late? Well, each of us have got our own opinion about that. There's been lots of other things happening. And of course, just this week, we've just heard about Omicron, the new variant. And of course, we already have cases in Scotland and in England. And yeah, should we have done something about it sooner? Because they heard about it last Wednesday, a week ago today. So they heard about it then, but nothing really came into action until this week. So did they get it wrong? We'll leave you to decide on that one as well. But what I'm just saying to you is, folks, hindsight. Hindsight is a wonderful thing because, well, if only I turned left instead of right, maybe that wouldn't have happened. Things wouldn't have gone wrong. Maybe if I'd said a little bit more or a little bit less, maybe a relationship or something wouldn't have gone wrong. There's so many things in life that if we look back and think, oh, why did I do that? If only I had done. Hindsight really is a wonderful thing. But none of us know what is ahead of us. No one knows what's going to happen to us, to our family, to our friends, to our environment. We can only live in the day-to-day and hope. We're in the season of Advent, and let that hope get us through all the things. I know we sometimes think, oh, we got that wrong, but just think of all the things we've got right in our lives. There are so many of them, so many, and they far outweigh those things that we've got wrong in our lives. So I'm going to finish just with two very short Bible verses for you to give you the hope, but also to let you know that you're not on your own. And when things go wrong, we'll just take it to the Lord. From Deuteronomy, be strong and courageous. Do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you. And from the New Testament, the book of John, I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. So don't worry about the wrongs in life. God bless everyone.